I'm Eleanor from KidsQuest Children's Museum, and today I'm going to be teaching you some art projects you can do to help with recognizing shapes and learning how to draw them. So we're going to be doing a shape tracing project that'll look something like this, and a shape painting project that'll look something like this. So the first thing you need to do for this project is to look around your house and find some objects that have a shape on one of their sides. So the kitchen is a really good place to look because a lot of jars and containers will have a circle opening. I found some boxes that I'm not using anymore that have square bottoms, and even some of your toys, if you look at them in one direction, will have a shape on them. So this little robot has a square bottom. So first I'm going to do our tracing exercise, and this will help us figure out the outlines of these shapes. So you just need to set it on the paper, and then I'm going to use some colored markers for this. But you can use crayons or pencils, whatever you want. And I'm going to trace around the outside of this little robot. And I will get this shape. He has little arms that I couldn't quite draw around, so I will finish the rest of the shape. So we've got kind of a square or a rectangle from our robot, and then let's see what this shape will be. I'm going to use a different color. I'll use this blue. I'm going to trace this. Make sure I get all of the sides. And now we have two overlapping shapes. And overlapping shapes will make a shape in the center. So I like to color in that shape. And that helps me see it a little better. And then I can try and figure out what this shape is. So two squares overlapping will make another square in the corner there. And I can add other shapes. Remember, I have my circle, so I'm going to lay that down. I'm going to trace it. All the way around. And it's okay if it overlaps with the other shapes. That will help us create even more shapes. So now I have this circle on here as well, and I have these two shapes here that I can color in. So I have these two shapes here. They're almost triangles, but not quite, because this side is curved and not straight. Let's see, I have a smaller circle. I can overlap my circles a little and trace this one. I've got my two circles overlapping, and I can fill in that space. And I will have almost like a Venn diagram. I have this new shape in the middle. And you can fill up your whole paper with shapes, see what different kinds of shapes you can make by overlapping the shapes that you have. And maybe if you have some really fun shapes like stars or hearts, you can add them too, because I'm sure they'll make really interesting shapes when you overlap them. Now the next project, I think this one is even more fun because you get to get a little bit messy. So we're going to keep our shapes, and this time you want to make sure that they're shapes that you are okay with getting messy. So this little robot, I maybe don't want to put paint on him, but this jar, that's totally fine. And you're gonna paint with your shapes. But I'm not gonna use a paintbrush, I'm just gonna use the shapes themselves, which is why this is really fun. So I'm just gonna spread some paint on it, and I just have this palette with some paint already on it. I just used a grocery store bag that I cut up, which is a good way to save yourself a little bit of mess if you're looking to make a palette at home. And now that I've got paint all over the bottom, I'm just gonna smack it down on the paper, and then I can pick it up, and I can see that it left a square behind, which is pretty cool. And then let's try with my circle. I'll just run the rim around in this blue paint, get it all covered. You can use a paintbrush or your finger if you want to spread it out a little more evenly, but I think it looks really cool when it's kind of chunky. And then I'm just going to put it on the paper and press it down and then lift up, and I have this circle overlapping with my square. And you can see a little bit, the colors are starting to mix together and make a new color. So there's a little green in the middle there. And I'm going to use a different size, my glue stick here. That's a circle too. I'll get some red paint. And I can stamp this, maybe in the center of this circle. And I've got another circle. And if I do this end of the glue stick, I think that might look different. Let's see. I'll do it over here. Yeah, so that side of the glue stick is a filled-in circle, and this side of the glue stick was an open circle. So you can see the different shapes in your house. They might not make the shape that you think when you cover them with paint and paint with them. So these are two ways that you can talk about shapes. As you're doing the exercises, make sure you name the shapes, figure out what they are, talk about how many sides they have, and talk about some of the other things in the world that you see from time to time that are shaped like these objects. Like, what's something that's shaped like a circle that maybe that isn't in your house? Maybe the sun or a planet. You can think of all sorts of things as you're talking about shapes. Have fun doing these activities. Thank you.